You clicked on this video because you want to make money and you want to get super duper rich, but you're finding it hard to get the motivation to actually work hard to get rich. You know, you want to work, but you don't want to work. So today, luckily you clicked on this video, I'm going to be talking about how to literally brainwash yourself to enjoy the quote work. Now, the truth about work or motivation is that it is quite literally like here, I want to burst your guys' bubble really quick. So working hard or anything productive to get what you want is never, ever in a million years going to garner more dopamine than video games or scrolling on Instagram Reels. That's the truth. Now, you're not going to ever be able to enjoy work if you're substituting the quote work with these false dopamine, artificial dopamine, just straight overloading your brain, overstimulating your entire dopaminergic system, if that makes sense. So I realized this, I got hit in the face with this the other day. So obviously, I'm sure if you clicked on this video, you're in the realm of business, so you know what a dopamine detox is. You got to go on a dopamine detox. And I'm going to be talking about how to obviously reset your dopamine baseline. But the thing is about this, is I ate a waffle. So this was like 2 weeks ago, and I gotta see where I'm going with this. It was like 7 in the morning. I went to breakfast and I had a waffle, and I felt like shit, utter shit the entire day. I could not think. I was lethargic. I was slow. I didn't want to work out. I had brain fog. It was crazy. And that's because I've conditioned my body to eating nothing but the best foods. We're talking organic ground beef, raw milk, raw dairy, clean water, no fluoride, tap water BS. Okay? Now, when I took a bite of that waffle, I felt it was good. Don't get me wrong, that waffle fucking hit. But I instantly got hit with the sugar, I got hit with the cortisol, I got hit with my hormone imbalances, and it fucked me up for a day or two. Now, the reason this fucked me up so bad is because I was conditioned to eating the best foods. Now, that's fantastic. Obviously, that's great. Like, I'm never gonna touch that waffle ever or go back to that restaurant ever again. But you need to do that with motivation and work. So, for example, let's take this down, right? It really just comes down to inputs. So if you want to brainwash yourself to get rich, the thing is that you have inputs. Now, of course, Reels is not going to get you rich. Of course, let's just say this is not going to get you rich as either. Watching stupid YouTube videos like Mr. Beast is not going to get you rich either. And the truth about your inputs is that it has to be in accordance to the person that you want to be. So if you want to look at what somebody believes, don't look at what they say, look at what they do, because beliefs manifest in actions. I'm going to repeat that. If you want to look at what somebody believes, don't look at what they say, look at what they do, because beliefs manifest in actions. So your inputs aren't in accordance to this evolved person that you want to be, if that makes sense. If you want to make 10, 30, 40, 50K a month and you're watching Reels, watching The Hub, and you're watching YouTube and Mr. Beast, all these hyper-edited videos. I mean, look, you're one step closer because you're watching a whiteboard video with 0 edits. Hopefully I'm animated enough to keep your attention, but you see what I'm saying. So the truth is that you have to cut all these out. Now, it's easier said than done. It really is, because what most people don't understand is that there's no such thing as quitting. There's literally no such thing as quitting. So let's say you have 24 hours in a day, right? For 24 of those hours, 16 hours you spend awake. 16 hours, okay? You have 16 hours in your day. And let's say this time period from, let's say, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., you spend playing video games. So we're just gonna do this, right? This is video games. So let's say you play video games for however many hours of the day. The truth is that if you eliminate this, you have conditioned your day-to-day life to have this time frame open. So there's no such thing as actually quitting a habit. You can only substitute it. If you want to quit playing video games, but you still have your Xbox there, you have your controllers here, you want to stop scrolling on Instagram, but you have Instagram open on your app. You guys realize I have 200,000 followers on Instagram. I don't have Instagram on my phone screen. I have to physically go and search up Instagram in my search tab to open it. Same with TikTok, same with YouTube, same with every other app in my phone. I barely have any apps other than necessities. So the truth is that you can't quit something. You can only substitute it, because you're still going to have this time period in your day that is open. So if you want to, let's say you spend 5 hours a day playing video games, you can't just quit, because the controllers are going to be there, that's going to be there, you're going to have a open time frame regardless, and you're going to end up playing video games again. That's the easiest way to fall back into old habits, is by making them so accessible. What you have to do is you have to substitute it. And I'm not saying you have to go read for 4 hours straight, but what I am saying is you can go hit the gym for 2 hours. Maybe you go to the gym anyways. You could go to the gym earlier in the day. You can go read, then you can go meditate, you can go talk with your family, you can go hang out with your friends, you can go work on another business. You can Make content like me. I could be playing video games right now, but I'm not. I'm choosing to make a YouTube video and help you guys out. Do you see what I'm saying? So the next thing I want to talk about is kind of playing into this, right? You have what's called coping mechanisms, okay? Now, this is what most people do, and this is what keeps most people unproductive, is because they fall into coping mechanisms. Now, if you've ever read a book on psychology, somewhat you understand what a coping mechanism is, and they're derived from childhood experiences, most likely childhood trauma. So if you look at somebody who's fat, right? Let's keep it a buck. Being fat is not good. But if you look at somebody who's fat, 99% of the times, eating is one of their coping mechanisms. And the reason they can't, and it's kind of a cyclical, it's a cyclical cycle, if that makes sense. It's just a terrible downward spiral of they get fat because eating is their coping mechanism. They go to school, they get bullied, they feel like shit, they come home, then they eat to cope with the bullying. And then they get more fatter, then they get bullied more. Do you see what I'm saying? So essentially what I'm trying to say is, you have to understand what your coping mechanisms are, and if they benefit you, then fantastic, but if they don't, then don't. Then quit it, okay? Now, that could be things like the hub. It could be things like watching YouTubers, like comfort YouTubers, if you want to even call it that. I mean, we're in 2025, you're a man, get rich. I'm watching my comfort YouTuber. What are you talking about? But you get what I'm saying. So you have to understand what your coping mechanisms are, and if they don't benefit you, then just completely stop it. And like, there's no secret way to just stopping it. It takes a lot, like go to therapy if you need to. I personally don't. But yeah, next thing I want to talk about is kind of play off the input side of things. So your inputs, right? The thing about tasks is that the reason you don't want to do them, or they seem more painful than they are, is because you overthink them. The longer you think about a task, the harder it's going to become, right? Like, I was planning on recording this YouTube video way earlier in the day, when the sun was still up. Actually, it's kind of a vibe right now. We're partying. You could see the sick view. You could see the LED lights. Wow. But you get what I'm saying, right? I didn't want to record this YouTube video because I didn't feel like it, first off. Second off, I thought about it too much. But you know what I did? I opened up the whiteboard and I sat, turned my camera on, turned my mic on, and boom, we're here 7 minutes in. Does that make sense? So you can't think about tasks. You have to stop thinking about the work behind a task and start thinking about a task just for what it is. I make so much money from my laptop. I do YouTube. I have a drop shipping business. I do e-com. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and overthink these tasks. Kids back in the day 14 would go into the coal mines. I type buttons on a fucking keyboard in a high-rise apartment. My life's not that bad. You see what I'm saying? So if I want to go into the steam room and I feel like some resistance here, some mental resistance to going into the sauna or the steam room, I just have to sit there and you can 99% of the time just talk your way into things or crush limiting beliefs through logic. I don't want to go to the sauna. Why? You have 20 minutes, bro. And all you're doing is just sitting down. It's just going to be a little bit hotter than outside. And then you're like, oh shit, it's actually not that bad. You see what I'm saying? But most people are, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't work out because it hurts. Do you see what I'm talking about? You're just doing this. That's all you're doing. You're just doing this. And then you're going to get big and strong and jacked as shit. You see what I'm saying? So you have to stop looking at tasks for the work behind them or the mental strain it's going to put on you. Start looking at them for the result it's going to garner and just for what they are. You have to simplify it and you need to remove everything. So the biggest thing that I've realized, and this is actually what one of my mentors told me, is the thing about success is that it's not about what you do. Sorry, that was a really bad S. It's not about what you do. It's about what you don't do. So like kind of playing into the video game side of things, I've really realized, and this kind of plays into the dopamine detox as well, the reason psychologically you have a dopamine baseline. So we're going to say dopamine, and you have a baseline, right? So depending on who you are, let's say this is my dopamine baseline. Humans naturally are here. Mine is probably around the same level because I don't really do anything. I don't scroll on Reels too much. I don't scroll on Instagram. Maybe in the morning after I've had my coffee, I'm going to sit on the toilet and scroll a little bit of Reels, but that's about it. That's about it. Maybe a little bit before bed, but that's about it. Maybe 20 minutes a day, right? But the thing is you have a dopaminergic system and it can definitely get overloaded. And once you overstimulate it, I mean, this is literally what Apple has made it for, billions and billions of dollars to overstimulate you, keep you on your app and keep you on your phone so they can make money through advertising. The thing is that you have a dopaminergic system. Your baseline is here. And this is what most people's look like. They wake up and they feel like shit. They wake up, boom, instantly spike from Instagram Reels. Then they go back to nothing. They go to school all day. They go to school all day. Boom, spike from eating food. Then boom, and they eat like the sugary dopamine feeding food, whatever. Then they come home, boom, they watch the hub. Then boom, they play video games. And then it spikes back down when they go to sleep. This is not consistent. This is not congruent, and this is not how humans were built. We have a dopamine system for a reason. So mine is things like this. I wake up in the morning, I meditate, that boosts your serotonin. Serotonin and dopamine are definitely are very different. Serotonin is known as the pleasure chemical, and you want to lower your cortisol as much as possible. Your stress tolerance is real, but cortisol is essentially, I recognize, as the stress hormone. But I wake up, I meditate, I read the Bible, and I'm already on a better mood. Because I know that I've had a productive day. So I'm in a better mood, boom. I get some work done, I feel great. Then maybe I have a little something come up in the business. I'm gonna go down a little bit. Then I get to work out and I feel, hey, you know what? Let me scratch that. It's gonna go like this and I'm gonna work out. And let's say I don't wanna work out that day. My dopamine's gonna drop down to here, but you know what I feel after? I go, ooh, I feel great after the workout. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot more congruent than it is just spiky, if that makes sense. So most of you guys kind of substitute your tasks with just dopamine peaking activities. So, I mean, it literally, like everything in this overstimulating American, whatever the fuck you're from, first world, is meant to stimulate you. That's what it is meant to do. That's how these billionaires make money. That is how these tech companies, social media platforms. I have to keep you on this video. Do you understand? If you are still watching this video, that's why I'm talking so animatedly. I have to draw this out and I have to use visualization and representation with these neon lights in the background. I can't just sit down and talk to a camera because realistically, a lot of you guys are watching this video because your dopamine levels are fucked. Your dopamine levels are completely fucking cooked, which is why I have to sit here and draw this out for you guys. Does that make sense? So motivation or drive is an energy, and that's another thing that I want to talk about. So regardless of who you are, let me make this an easier, smaller E. Regardless of who you are, you have energy. And the thing is that this energy can be put into anything, right? It can be put into tasks, it can be put into people, it can be put into hobbies. Now, the thing is that it really just comes down to where you put it. So let's say, I mean, you only have so much energy, right? You have 100% of your energy. If you want to put and it doesn't matter, good, bad, positive, negative, mediocre, doesn't matter. But let's say you want to put 10% here, 30% there, 50% here, and then 10% here. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's say this is video games. We're just going to write VG. This is, let's say, the hub. It doesn't matter. You guys get what I'm going with this, right? Positive or negative, boring or non-boring. Bored is still an energy. You can allocate that to something. Once you learn, okay, I have this energy. Let's say you got broken up with. You're sad as fuck. You may be angry. This is unfair. Get on your laptop and get to work, dude. Get in the gym. Why do you think all these guys that as soon as they get cheated on, a brutal breakup, an absolutely brutal breakup, they get jacked as shit? That's because they understand how to funnel their energy into things that garner a result. Okay, a lot of these guys, they're just let me put this in perspective. You guys understand that a blue collar man that works 14 hours a day on a construction site versus somebody who's depressed and sorry, that was a bad E. Somebody who's depressed. All right. Somebody who works 14 hours a day on a construction site versus somebody who's depressed. They are both equally mentally and physically fatigued at the end of the day. Do you understand that? The guy who works 14 hours a day at his blue-collar job is equally mentally and physically fatigued as the person who sat in bed and scrolled on Instagram. Do you understand that? The only way to cure motivation or a lack of motivation is trajectory. You just have to, it's just action. Once everything in your life is fucking rolling and moving, everything becomes so much easier. Momentum is the most valuable fucking thing you can have in your entire life. And the moment you let go, the moment you step off the fucking pedal, the car slows down. And then you run out of fucking gas, and you know what you have to do? You have to push that car. Do you know how hard it is to get a car to start rolling when it's in neutral and it's not moving? If you put the car in neutral when it's going from 15 miles an hour, it's way easier to push it. Do you see what I'm saying? Why do you allow yourself to, and this is something else I want to talk about, why do you allow yourself to let the car go and then keep letting it slow down? Because the thing about success, it's like a slingshot. Okay, you keep pulling back every single day. If you pull back for a week and then you go out Saturday, Sunday, this is why most people are stuck in a shitty loop. And why they work jobs, right? They pull back a slingshot, Sorry to all the people that work jobs. I respect you, but this is true. You pull back the slingshot for like 5 days, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, you go and drink and it resets. Imagine if you pulled this shit back for 4 months. 4 months straight. You had this pulled so far back and you just let it go. Imagine how far your slingshot would go. Do you understand what I'm saying here? The next thing I want to talk about is how to kind of eliminate burnout or avoid burnout. Now, burnout is kind of an overused term. If you guys have ever actually worked your ass off, as I have, you know what I used to do, and this is the only time in my entire life last year when I experienced proper burnout. I would wake up at 5 a.m. I would work until 1. I would go to the gym. I would come home. I would eat almost 3,000 calories. I would have a mass gainer protein shake. On a full stomach, I would go train Muay Thai for 2 hours. I would almost throw up at Muay Thai. I would come home, I would shower, I would work, and I would go to sleep. And then I'd do it all again the next day. You can only do that for so long. And the reason is because I was putting in 100% every single day. Now, it's easy to say that you can put in 100% every single day, but every single human needs cooldown time. So I'm sure you've kind of heard entrepreneurs or anybody who's successful talk about cooldown time, and that's very much so true. The more that I've been able to cool down at the end of the day, the more money I've been able to make because I don't put in 100% every single day, right? I try my hardest at everything I do, if that makes sense, but I probably put in around 80% every single day. And the thing is that, let me put this into perspective, right? The truth is that the guys who put in 100% every single day, they're able to go for 2 weeks, then they crash. And then they have to go and then they build it back up and then they go, whoa, back up again, right? So that's those guys. Me, on the other hand, I'm able to chill at 80% consistently every single day, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Does that make sense? So I don't beat these other entrepreneurs. It's not about how hard you can work. It's about how long you can last. Does that make sense? And that, you know, that analogy plays into some other things, if you know what I'm saying. But do you get what I'm saying here? I'm not successful because I work the hardest. I'm successful because I've stayed consistent the longest. Does that make sense? If you go to my Instagram channel, if you go to my Instagram account, if you go to my YouTube channels, I'm so unbelievably consistent. Do I have 1 million views on every single video? No. But I keep putting in the work every single day. I chip away at the rock, and that's where I am. And I'm going to continue to grow. I'd much rather have slow success than quick success because I understand over time how to handle it. So that's kind of my entire game plan on how to brainwash yourself to enjoy the work and be productive. If you guys want me to drop an entire actual definitive productivity hack list, like, you know, meditating, biohacking, foods, diet, anything like that, comment down below. If you want to see more non-ecom related videos, because a lot of this channel is obviously more dropshipping related, but if you want to see more broad work kind of style videos, then let me know as well. Also, if you want to work one-on-one with me down below, we guarantee you hit 10K a month within 6 months of working with us, or your money back guaranteed, no questions asked. This is contracted in. If you don't make money working with us, we've had 0 disputes ever. This is on my Instagram. We've never had a refund in history. That's because everybody who's joined has made money. So if you want to work one-on-one, click the first link in the description, watch the little video at the top, and apply for completely free. Follow my Instagram at RealSmithReese. Like this video, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you have any questions about me or anything in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed.